everybody. Welcome to Career Launch Live. I am your host, Catherine McCord, and I am very keyed up about today's episode. So today, we are going to be discussing MLMs. I know, controversial topic. We kind of, I couldn't avoid it anymore, guys. I couldn't. I tried and I can't. So today, we're going to talk about facts. We're going to hear a story from somebody who has actually been through an MLM. We are going to also discuss an MLM who is a good example of what a company should be. And we have some really interesting guests. We're going to have Paula Torrey. She is a Medicare specialist and also an entrepreneur. We have Jason Madden with us, who is an entrepreneur coach and a very interesting person. And of course, we have the one and the only Miss Tara Furiani with us today. Hello.
Hello. Good morning. I am fired up too to talk about this, which I know you know, which is why I'm here. I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. And I was inspired. My last straw for just having to do this episode was your post about your friend who got gypped.
He totally did. I'm with you. For me, that was sort of like my last straw. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is craziness. And the amount of money people are being scammed, in my opinion, scammed. So, I could take it for what you will, I guess. Like, if you don't believe there's scamming involved, if you think getting whatever, I don't know. I don't want to jump into it too early. I don't know what direction you want to go. But like, there is just so much happening, and it's happening to our friends right here on LinkedIn.
Yes,
from a job perspective, when people are already in a place where they can't financially make it, maybe they lost their job from COVID, maybe they just lost their job in general. Like, who knows what the reason, but people are preying on people we care about and love.
Yes.
And that was the last straw for me because it's not okay.
I don't do scams. That is a huge no-no for me. So we're going to talk about, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is what is an MLM? Okay. So an MLM is a company who uses independent representatives who have two streams of revenue, either direct product sales to a client, or to have a downline, which is where they recruit people to sell under them. Okay. And just in case you're thinking to yourself, because a lot of people are like, oh, this is not a pyramid scheme. Think about this. So you have one person up here, and then they get two people under them, and then they get three people under them. And just think about the shape that makes a little triangle. We're trying to make triangles. I don't think we're good at triangles, but we're trying. This is a triangle. And yeah, you're muted, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Because you were talking, so I was trying to. My hands don't quite work like a triangle. I don't.
Yeah, but I'm trying. This is a triangle. It for most of them are. Now we're going to talk about one later that's actually a good example. We're going to talk about that. But real quick, I want to bring on a friend of mine who has been through an MLM. So we're going to bring on Miss Paula Torrey.
Hi.
First of all, I love your outfit.
You do? Really?
I do. I dig
it. It's like, yes, give me energy to make it through the week.
Right?
Yes,
yeah.
She's looking sharp. You have client meetings later, don't you?
Actually, I've been busy all morning.
There it is.
Yep. There it is.
We all are. I'm with somebody and you have makeup on, or like you're in a nice outfit. It's like, oh, you're talking to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the Zoom thing. It's like from the waist up.
Exactly. From the waist up. For sure. Like,
yeah, she's got her PJs. I love it. I love she has her PJs.
We have makeup on. I got it. Not the HRLE sweater, but trust me, there's a party below because it's business up. There's a party down there.
I don't like a makeup on.
For my own, I put makeup on because like otherwise I look too washed out, Yeah.
No, I get that. I do. I have those days. I have what I call my zombie days. So, so Paula, first of all, so right now you are a Medicare specialist. Right. So you go around helping elderly people get the care that they need and the prescriptions that they need. Thank you. Bye. And you do an amazing job. You're incredible. So you're welcome. Like everybody I've spoken to has just been super pleased with you. And I can tell by talking to you that you're not dumb. So you obviously know what you're doing. So tell me, before you were in an MLM, so tell us about that experience, if you could.
Well, okay, so I didn't understand it at first. My husband got into it, and I think I'm a bit unbiased because some may be good, some may be like just don't make sense, and people don't understand what they should be asking or looking for.
Right.
So this one I didn't understand. I didn't, the way it was introduced to me, I didn't get it. I'm like, okay, I should be supportive, right? The supportive spouse. That's a big thing in MLMs, right? So I'm like, okay, let me just go along with it. I started to understand it. I'm a person.
I want to ask you a question. Wait, what? So I don't have a lot. I've never sold anything. Like I've never done the product. I've never done it. But I have tons of friends who do it. So when you just said something that I don't know, and I want you to expand if you don't mind. What are you saying when you say the supportive spouse thing is a thing for MLMs? Tell me about
that. Because you don't want to be the person that's like, okay, so when you're by yourself, let's just say, right, one of the things that you'll be told, and I think it's many companies that'll do that, is like, let me go home and speak to my wife about this, or let me go home and speak to my husband about this. And then it's like,
started in that. Your husband, John.
I remember one of the responses were that we were told we should be saying is like, or is something like, well, I mean, do you need to pay, I forgot how it went. It was more or less kind of like saying, do you have to ask your husband about everything? Like kind of like, yeah. So it was like,
you're
or how about
spouses that you were told to shame spouses.
So that's like a traditional sales tactic though. Like, because that's the perfect excuse. And so you're trained in every kind of sales. So I know this from leasing apartments 20 years ago. You're trained like, well, I should bring my boyfriend back, or I should bring my husband back. And it's like, this, you're trained to like make them create that sense of urgency that, and you don't need them to make that decision. You could just go ahead and hold it so you don't lose it. You don't want to miss out on the opportunity. It's that fear of missing out if you consult with somebody else. So
and then it's like, and then it's like, if you're not for it, then it's more like you become sort of like that spouse that's not supporting, the idea or the goal.
Too, and they talk about that.
They mention it, yeah, it's come up.
They do.
Like, it's not a whole segment, but it becomes because you have that a lot. You have sometimes there's that spot. I mean, how many decisions in a regular marriage, the husband is always making a decision on something, and the wife is just like, hold up, somebody has to put the brakes on. So it's always like something that comes up, and I say husband and wife, right? You see how I use that? And then the wife is always like the one with the brains. So it's like that comes up often. So I feel like that, especially in the MLMs. When it's something that now mine, the one I was in travel. So that involved all of us. We're all traveling. It was awesome in the beginning because I learned a lot about the travel industry. I learned a lot about MLMs. I got stuck where I couldn't present things the way they were trying to train me, because one thing that I know, and I have a sales background, was, you have your tactics and you have the things that you say and stuff, but you can't pretend to sell like the other person that's in there. It's like personality. Like when you start mimicking someone word for word and it's not natural,
it doesn't sound good.
You sound like a salesperson. You sound like a car salesperson.
I want to stop something real quick. So this is interesting to me, and I see this a lot in MLMs, and I've done a lot of investigation. I've even put myself through some of the pitches so that I could, learn. Like I went in and pretended like I was going to sign up. Yeah, we're going to dive into that in a minute. That experience. But this is fascinating to me. So you and I know, Tara, that there are very strict guidelines when it comes to contract workers. They are not W-2, and you absolutely positively cannot provide them with training outside of initial product training. So the fact that they were teaching you how to sell means that you were mislabeled and should have been a W-2 employee. Just want to throw that out there.
Absolutely. Exactly right. So you can recommend. There's ways to skirt the law, but if they are providing some kind of sales training to you, and saying it in a way that's like, this is our proven technique, and and there's sales,
follow the process,
or there's a script,
or there's a script or anything like that. Absolutely. Now you could have MLMs that say our most successful reps take sales training courses to understand how to learn to overcome objections. There are some resources that are free on LinkedIn. Here's where you can get some stuff. If I throw the onus back on you, that's cool. But if I'm actually provided printed collateral and scripting and our proven methodologies and that is a misclassification of employment. 100%.
I came across that because I had some printed stuff from like other leaders or other team leaders or whatever from other teams that were really successful in this. And They did that. There were manuals and stuff where they would put in like scripts of things that they would say what works for them type of things, right? So,
right. So I want to stop real quick. So I want to skip ahead. So you've talked to me about, there were some things that you really liked about it. Can you go into the things just real briefly, some things that you really liked about this process?
What I liked about it was that I got to travel at like a discounted rate, like wholesale travel. So now I see travel agents and stuff and I see their pricing and I'm like, I paid way less for that. So now I have to kind of come out of like, that was not what I'm going to come across ever again, because this was the wholesale travel thing, however they set it up. And it mimicked American Express Platinum Card, by the way. And mimicked exactly how I went to work for American Express, and that's how I know. When I went to work, then I'm just like, I've seen this before. I've seen that before. I was like, wait, I was part of this before. So I like that I was able to travel at a discounted rate. I was able to understand that. After that, we were not the big hitters in the company. We tried to build teams and stuff. We built it once or twice to a couple of maybe double digits, and then they dropped again because everyone flocked to the next MLM.
So I want to real quick, because I want to hit some real quick things before it's time to move on to our next guest. So you and John have built successful businesses on your own. You and your husband have built successful businesses on your own. So it's not like you don't know how to build business or build a book of business. I mean, I'm watching you do it all the time across the Treasure Coast. So what do you think made it not work when you were with the MLM?
The fact that we don't really have control over that business. That business, literally, that company is hitting the ground right now. Right. It is not doing well. And that is what we don't have. It's your business because you're running it like a business, but you don't have control over the product or who says what or who says anything. Right. And that's where thing,
so when you left, you gave me one very specific thing that made you leave. What was that?
They stopped paying their representatives.
Yes, they did. Did they give any kind of justification?
Till this day, no. Until this day, I watch and follow some people just to see if someone's ever going to clear the air, and no one has. But there's smack lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit with these companies, and no one has come out to say we're struggling, we're plateauing, we're having an issue like any other business, or try to make you think it's nobody. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good where I am.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing with us. We're going to let you go for now, but thank you so much. Your story has been very valuable to this conversation. And if you guys want to connect with Paula, please reach out to her on either Facebook or LinkedIn. She is amazing. And if you have an elderly person in your life that needs assistance signing up for Medicare, this is your lady. Thank you. Oh my goodness. So misclassification of employees, not paying people.
Yes. But it seems so. She said something about lawsuits, which is so rampant. I was just Googling like LuLaRoe because I thought I'd remember there being a slew of lawsuits with them. And I haven't done a lot of research on that particular case, so I can't speak a lot to it. I just remember a ton of people being stuck with a bunch of inventory, tons of different lawsuits. And I wonder how, in what way is there justification in order to get to a place where you're now being sued for millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars? It's so predatory. Like it's so predatory, and it's every single one of them. And I know you have some that you like, or one that you want to talk about. And I do too. Like the ones that have a product, right? Like the ones that have a product, I don't necessarily have as big of an issue with, like Stella and Dot. Do you remember that? Like the jewelry?
Yeah.
You got like something tangible. So when I give you my $700 to become a whatever, I get $700 in jewelry. Well, like that's tangible. If I'm looking for jewelry, I don't really hate that as much as I hate like paying for bullshit pods and engagements and thinking that that's going to be a career strategy. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like everyone else is paying to like your posts, just like you're paying to like other people's posts.
There's so much ridiculousness. So I'm going to share some facts. We're going to go over some facts here. Let's do it. We're going to do it. So, because I want to talk about these with Jason, who's our next guest. So one thing, folks, that I'm very big on, and so is Tara, is research, and from reliable sources. So our sources today are ftc.gov. That is F as in Frank, T as in Tom, C as in cat. So the Federal Trade Commission, as well as AARP. Those are my two sources for today. So if you want to look up,
Those are some facty places. I mean, if you
those
can't,
are facty places.
Yeah,
The only incentive is helping people. That is it. That's all they've got going. So, one thing to keep in mind, and by the way, side note, one thing to keep in mind is that there are states that have laws against MLMs, period, such as New York and North Carolina. So, and I'm going to go ahead and bring Jason on. He's saying he wants to hop on, so let's go ahead and add him on. Hi, Jason.
Hey, ladies, how's it going? Yeah,
Great.
You piqued my interest when you said FTC is like, oh, I can talk about this a little bit,
all day long. And just so people know what you do, you coach entrepreneurs and business owners, right?
Yeah, so they call me a career ownership coach. I'm a franchisee with a company called The Entrepreneur Source. So whenever somebody has that entrepreneurial curiosity and they want to start up, I help them do that research in kind of a safe space. So if they're thinking about MLM, if they're thinking about franchising, if they're thinking about going it on their own, I can help them get that information so that they can make a clear, educated decision at the end of the day.
So speaking of education, we're going to circle back to these facts real quick. Yep. We're going to do that. And we're going to circle back to what you do later too. So here are some things, and I'm going to actually read these because if I don't, I'm going to stumble over it. So the FTC did a study, okay? And they had this person reach out to 155 tax preparers. 99 reported that no client who did MLM had any income from it. None. Now think about how many clients each one of these 99 has. So none of them reported a profit. Out of the remaining 66, 40 clients total were found who had reached any level of profit at all with an MLM. And those were all in Utah, which has the highest per capita of MLMs. That's like headquarters, right?
I think that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, that's for everybody.
A lot of stay-at-home moms in Utah, and that's just a fact. It's not stereotyping.
And that's true. Yeah, it's just true. Mm-hmm. The FTC also has done a study that reports that just under 1% of MLM participants profit, and that's across the board. Less than 1% have any level of profit.
There it is.
At all. Yep. AARP.
I mean, you have to recoup that initial investment. That's the hard thing. It's like a lot of these ask you to pay out $1,000, and then you make such minimal amounts of money when you do a direct sale. That's how these work, right? The more people you have underneath you, the more money you're going to make. That requires everybody to keep hustling, and build up your stuff. So, like, if I make $1, it's going to take me 1,000 people to be able to recoup my $1,000 investment. Like, fuck that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Like the math of it. It sounds really appealing when you see these Diamond Elite members and everybody's going on these events. It's like, that's not real life. That's a very, very small select group of people. 1%.
So one sneaky thing that a lot of these MLMs are doing, and I found this out by asking people that work for them. I will not name drop the MLMs because I don't want to trash talk today, but these are very big, popular MLMs. What they do is they get the people that have been with the company for like 20, 30 years, and therefore basically everyone is under them. And that's how they're making their money. And so then they put them on the forefront and they're like, oh, look, this is possible. And what they don't tell you is that it took this insane amount of time and basically everyone being under them because they basically were the first one in a state or something like that. And that's how they reach these insane profit levels.
1% of the 1%.
Yes, exactly.
Very small amount of people.
Very, very teeny. Now, AARP provides some interesting demographics information. So, AARP, they're all about, diversity and all that type of stuff and helping people. So they said, that MLM sales increased 4.8% from 2014 to 2016, but there was no increase in the level of profits to the people selling them.
I mean, it's just like salaries versus earnings for a corporation. It's the same idea.
Yep. So then 48% of MLM participants, and this is a 2018 study, by the way, 48% of participants are 18 to 25. 60% are female. 63% are white. And 44% do it for less than a year. And why, you may ask, do they leave? 74% leave due to the awkward selling criteria. So what that means is how they are being told to sell.
Yeah.
That's how Paula, who was in it, says that sounds accurate, by the way. Yeah. And she said that she says that percentage might be the exact company that she worked with. Yeah, right. So these are like actual hard facts. And to have any company where the salespeople, that less than 1% are making a profit, something is inherently wrong. Okay. I used to work around merchant services, which is they still are stuck in that old 1099 sales, commission only thing. But the vast majority of agents I knew made some kind of profit. If they only did it part-time, then they only made, a few hundred a month, but they made a profit and they did not pay to enter anything at all. And the ones that did it full-time made a good living. That's how it works. If you're putting in full-time hours, you should be making a full-time living. Something is inherently wrong. Don't you guys think?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. You shouldn't be hustling to sell jewelry, body wraps, whatever it is. You shouldn't be working full-time and not receiving wages that would equate to that same amount of full-time work. And it's not like entrepreneurship. It's not like starting your own organization in that regard, because like, it's not the blood, sweat, and tears of working 24/7. When you decide, like, as someone who's starting something from the ground up, you know all about that, Catherine.
Yeah.
It's not that where you're not getting paid. You're paying in to join an organization with the hope that that's going to turn into something profitable. And sure, does that require work on your part? Yes. But it shouldn't require a 24/7 for over a year just to make that $10,000 investment back. That is stupid. That is crazy. Right. Nobody would do that in their right mind.
And Jason too. So you know all about franchising because you're in a franchise and you help other people get into that, entrepreneurship. So let's talk about, because this is the one I get. This is one of the big, it's okay to have to pay to get into an MLM because look at what franchise owners do. We're business owners too.
I hate that comparison.
It makes me bonkers. So Jason, bust that myth for us. Bust that myth.
So that comparison. So a franchise is, you're an independent business owner, but you're contractually obligated with that franchise to operate their proven business model in their system. As in that contractual relationship, that franchisor is obligated to provide you the resources, the training, and the support to make sure that your business is successful. So
that means marketing, HR, all kinds of stuff, multiple taxes. They sometimes help with
HR. Just really quick, not usually HR. That's usually a separate thing at a franchise.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. Some do, some don't.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely depends on the brand. So, like I'm also a Sharky's franchisee. They help me hire people, right? So, so in doing that, I mean, the franchisor has some skin in the game too, because they can't make money unless their business owners make money. Right. That's why you have, royalty fees. That's not an expense. That's an investment. So that franchisor can turn around and continuously improve their system so that their franchisees are, successful. An MLM doesn't do that. They don't reinvest all the money that you buy for your inventory and then can't sell. Like I grew up with my parents were Melaleuca people for a short period of time. And I had crappy toothpaste for years because they couldn't sell that stuff. I had that tea tree oil toothpaste forever. They couldn't get rid of it.
I can taste it. I know exactly what you mean, and I can taste the taste, and I know you can too. I know exactly what you mean. My grandmother did that.
Yes, I can. Yes. Oh man, it was awful. And I don't want to see anybody else go through that stuff again. It ruins relationships because another difference between that and the franchise is a franchise isn't going to be like recruit your friends and family, sell this stuff to your friends and family.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many different industries to begin with anyway, and you're not going to be a distributor in most franchises like in that capacity. But you mentioned with women, it's ruining women's relationships. With the the family because they don't want to talk to you because like, Tara's going to sell me crappy toothpaste. I don't want to talk to her. Or the skincare stuff. Spandex pants that are like $130 for junk.
Yeah. Or skincare or body or saran wrap that makes us skinny really fast. I like the Scentsy. I'm just going to put it out there. The Scentsy smells good. I want that. I like that. I don't mind when my friends sell that, but when my friends sell all of it, and then it's like, to your point, it ruins relationships. I don't want to see Catherine's posts anymore. I'm going to hide them because all she talks about is Advocare. And I don't want to hear anything else about how much weight she's lost. Like, yay for her, but I don't want to drink the powdery shit. I don't want it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And it does.
Then I miss the friendship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People lose friendships and all that. Now, I want to circle back because you said Melaleuca very specifically. So I've done a lot of research. Hold on. I've done a lot of research on this. And actually, of all the MLM companies I've run into, as a company, not talking about their product, because I've never tried it. I don't know. But that's not true. I finally recently have tried a couple of theirs, and I like their lotion very much. Just going to throw that out there. So not talking about their product or the MLM aspect, but as a business, they actually have some concepts that I really like. For instance, they have this interesting program for their W-2 employees. And Tara, you're going to love this. So that when you're with them for these 20 years, which they consider to be your career, right? Or it's either 20 or 25, I can't remember, but one of those two. When you leave them, you have at least $1 million in your retirement account.
Whew, that's nice.
I like that. I think that's a good policy.
You can work for them instead of selling their crap, right? That's probably
yeah. You can actually have a W-2. Yeah. So that's what I mean. That's for the W-2 people, not the 10. I'm not addressing that part of it, the contractor. But so I like that, and I like some of the benefits that they had for their people. So I thought, okay, as a company, they have it together. They have some good policies, and they believe in true profit share and equity share with their company, with their employees, which I really like. But then, and I have a friend that sells Melaleuca. Is that right? Am I saying it right? Anyway, okay. I have a friend that sells it, and she is not pushy. And she said her team leader always taught them, do not push. Either somebody wants it or they don't. Don't talk about it all the time. Don't be creepy. Just either they want it or they don't. Put it out there and then drop it. And I like that. I was like, okay, if more of them did that, I would have less of a problem. She also said they did not do like the aggressive like training and all that kind of stuff. It's just, we're all here because we like the product, yada, yada. You can make it a full-time business, not, whatever you want to do. If that was more the approach, I think I would have less of a problem. What do you guys think?
No, I definitely agree. I mean, that's sales 101, right? You give more than you offer, right?
Right.
So you have great conversations with people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that also, it still doesn't address at the end of the day, the difference between owning your own business and that is you're able to build equity. You build with your own business, whether it's a franchise or a startup, you create a tangible and fungible asset that you can turn around and leverage, whether it's selling or bringing a principal operator, whatever you want to do. You can never do that stuff with your MLM. Even if you have all those products, at the end of the day, you try to sell them, I don't think anybody's really going to buy them. And you're not going to transition that book of business over. If you even have it, you can't transition it to anything.
Right. And I think that's the biggest difference between a business owner and an MLM. And that's where I correct people. And you're certainly not an entrepreneur. And if you try to go there with me, you're going to hear about it because let me tell you, and Tara, and Jason, building a brand from the ground up is even different than, I wouldn't compare that to regular business ownership, like a franchisee or something like that. That is not the same thing. It is a completely different process. And it will make you a crazy person. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it is not at all in a good way. Not at all the same thing. When you build a brand, when you have a complete 100% control, when the product is completely your invention, that's when you're an entrepreneur. Do not call yourself an entrepreneur if you did not invent that product and or the brand. And if you do not have control of 100% aspect of your business, you are not an entrepreneur.
Agree.
Yeah. This is three different entrepreneurs and three different
business owner. A business owner, that's somebody, like probably within a franchise system, because, quite frankly, you don't have a lot of control over that, because that's what you invest into. It's something that's, it's a proven system, and it's a model that you want to be able to leverage to be able to create that income and that lifestyle that you want. As an entrepreneur, that's a different animal. Just like you said, you've got to wear 10 to 12 different hats, and you got to figure out how to delegate them appropriately. That the franchise side of the house, they have that in place for you already. It helps you speed into your business years and years ahead of time what it would take you from starting something like that from scratch. And
100%. Yes.
Difference.
Yes. And Shannon, thank you. You're absolutely right. Building a brand from the ground up is hard. And being an MLM, you already have a brand and you have zero control over it. She's 100% right. And she, by the way, has her own business. In fact, I am so excited. She's making me cookies, homemade cookies for my puppy dogs, and sending them to me. And I'm super excited. I love it. Yeah, she's going to be on the show too in a couple months. We're going to have a really, really fun episode with her. So I can't wait. So continuing that. So we've discussed that less than 1% are profitable. You are definitely not an entrepreneur or business owner. The fact that they tell you that is just propaganda. It's just to get you excited. Now, they do offer freedom. MLMs do offer freedom. You can work whenever you want to work, not when you don't. You can make money if you're in the 1%. But I want to put something out there. Just because you don't make it into that 1% does not mean that you stink. They try to make it seem like because I've heard this. I have personally myself pretended I wanted to join an MLM and listened to this. I said, no, I did it it was so fun. I had so much fun with it.
Tell us. We want to hear it.
You want to hear the whole story?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am a super one. I want to know what it's about. What do they say?
So I'll get, and then I will end with what I was going to say, because this is the one where I was like, okay, and I just got up and walked out. Okay. So I did it with two. I did it, and one was an in-home presentation, and one was at a building. Yeah, and sat there and listened, and the in-home had multiple other ladies there.
Okay.
And like one of the parties. One of the parties. Yes, it was one of the parties. Okay. Yep. So I did that whole bit. And I was like, okay, whatever. I get to hang out with my friends, and I want to hear what this is about anyway. Like, this is research for me. So I just sat there and did the whole thing. And both started with the products and how wonderful they are and how unique they are. I'm like, okay, I disagree, but whatever. That's what you're supposed to tell us. So fine, that's cool. Then they did here's the card, and they pass them out. So you have something to hold in your hand of all our top representatives and what they make. And this is what you can do if you do this. And nothing about your average. So I raised my little hand. Y'all know me. Y'all know how I get. And I raised my hand and said, so what does the average person make? Well, that just depends on how much you hustle. I said, not really. I said, because let's look at this. Let's say you recruit me, and let's say you recruit 3 of us in this room. We all know all the same people. So obviously one of us is going to probably saturate the market, not the others. Because one of the concepts behind MLMs is that they're depending on a virgin market.
That's right.
Right. And that just it hardly ever exists at any time. So we're going through, and they're like, oh, well, no, it's just how much you work. You just don't understand. Okay. So I just sat there and I just kept on going. I'm like, all right, make them a little notes. The next thing, and this is both of them. This was flat across. The next one was talking about involving your friends and family.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
One of them told me that if my husband didn't join, he was not supportive.
Oh, of course.
Join, not just support me doing it. He needed to join. The other one was like, oh, well, he should support you and he shouldn't mind the investment being made in this. And, I said, okay, so what if somebody doesn't have the money to spend several $100s up front, but they're a really good salesperson, have a background in outside sales? Can they promote your product without paying this money up front? Well, no, that's not fair to everybody. It's a fun response. So it kept going. And every question I asked, it was a very antagonistic and very manipulative answer that
you're
made
not their demographic, that they're weeding you out right now. They already know that you're not their people.
Yeah, we don't want this one here. We don't want this one.
About earnings claims on there too. That goes back to the Federal Trade Commission thing. That's highly illegal. Franchises, on the franchise side, they're highly federally regulated when it comes to the sale and purchase of franchises. They cannot give you that earnings claim. And if a franchisor does that, they hit some pretty heavy penalties. So, if someone ever says that a business, makes some money, validate it, right? Can I speak to those owners that are making the money? Let me understand how they're doing it. MLMs will absolutely
Now, and also according to the FTC, less than 2% of MLMs report any type of earning data at all to the government in terms of their independent contractors. Now they obviously
sales of their products to owners to their
they're the contractors. It's really an interesting situation. So one of them, so this was interesting. So then one of the party one started saying to the women that were mothers, well, don't you want to spend more time with your kids?
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Okay. So because she has a full-time job, she's a bad mom, and you're going to guilt her into this.
I've seen that tactic, and Bree joined us, who's one of my good friends, and the inspiration for the post that I made, which I don't think she minds me sharing. That I've seen, not her specifically, but I have seen other friends, on Facebook and stuff, make posts like that. Like, hey, all you working mom friends, wouldn't you like to spend more time with your kids? And it's like,
now I want to talk to you. Like that. We have a comment. It says, hustle, be your own girl boss, and the sky is the limit. Just a few hours a week, and it's okay to be persistent. Do you know that you need to talk to someone at least 12 times before they say yes? Actually, first of all, no, that's not true. As somebody who sells a product, an actual product, and a service, by the way, a very expensive product. I don't know if you know anything about recruiting. I am trying to talk people into spending tens of thousands of dollars with me in most cases. I could have one or two conversations with them, and I do not ever pressure anyone to buy what I do. We have a conversation. It is either a fit or it is not. My friend Corinne, who works with Melaleuca, that I just think the world of, and she's the one I was talking about and praising her tactics earlier and everything. She's the shining example of how things ought to be, as is apparently her team. I have not met them personally. She doesn't pressure anybody, and she does very well. Everybody knows her and goes to her. And one of the reasons that they do that is because she's not a jerk.
Yeah.
And a few hours a week. Okay. If someone seriously, and Bree, I think you were being,
she was being facetious.
Yeah, I know she was being facetious. Yeah. I want to clarify that Bree was being facetious. Okay. Like, Bree was being facetious, and I want to make that real clear that I do know that. And she said, I've spent less time with my kids because of MLM, got guilted into spending less time with them because of trainings. Yeah, trainings, which, by the way, again, means that they were not being compliant, and you should have been a W-2 employee. So to Bree's, and Bree says that these are all tactics that she's personally experienced. So she's experienced what I went through. And Paula has told me too that some of these lined up with her experience. If someone tells you that in a few hours a week you can be crazy rich, they're lying. Okay. I work in the industry. 100%.
Like, not sometimes. No one who makes the kind of money that we're talking about, that's substantial, that makes you rich.
Like 100K plus. We're going to say 100K plus. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Nobody who makes $100,000 a year works a few hours a week.
No.
Unless you own an organization where other people are working and making money for you. And I am not talking about MLMs. I'm talking about Jason.
Years to get to that point.
Yes. Yeah. Now let me also clarify years. Yeah, years to reach that point. So let me also, now I work in recruiting, as you know, Tara, and recruiters that really know what they're doing, which means that they spent years building this. Okay, this is not immediate.
And your network, not just understanding your business, but building your business network.
Yes.
Who you know.
I know some IT recruiters personally, and some other recruiters as well, that can make 10, 20K a month working 10, 15 hours a week because they spent years getting to that point, and they have that network.
Yep.
But that's years. And that takes, like she said, building your network and all of that. So Jason, one thing I want to ask you about very specifically is, so we've talked about the guilting moms thing, and we talked about the guilting partners aspect. As someone who coaches people when they're wanting to start a business, maybe they know what they want to do, maybe they don't. What are acceptable things that someone who's really trying to help you make the right decision would say versus what we've been hearing about?
No, I think an acceptable thing, especially, I think, I do agree that including your partner in your decision in entrepreneurship is absolutely important. But, at the same time, you have to let them make their own decision. It's like, hey, if this is not in alignment with you and your family, you need to have that great conversation,
Yes.
completely transparent. And even in my coaching, I always invite the spouse, it's like she needs to understand what you're going through. And if she's not on board, I'm not on board. I cannot help. And that's not a forcing function or anything like that, because I care about how that relationship's going to happen in the future. And I have a reputation with my clients. I don't want, hey, Jason pushed me into this thing because he said, screw it. My wife wasn't on board. He said, screw it. Let's plow forward anyway. Entrepreneurship. Rah. No, that's not how this works.
Let me tell you, if you start a business without asking your spouse, you are the bad spouse. Let me just throw that on out there, because all those financial decisions should be made. And running a real business, it is grinding. It will take you away from the home. It will take you away from other obligations. It will make you a crazy person. So they should have the right to say, yes, I want to deal with that stress. No, I do not. You should always make that decision together. 100%. 100%. And what
multiple sources.
Yes.
One thing.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
Multiple sources, and that could be the idea of startup, the idea of changing careers as a job, as an employee. Not everybody's cut out to be a business owner and or entrepreneur. And also look at different business models. I always encourage my clients to keep an open mind on it, because when we take an inventory of your skills and your background, you can translate that into many, many things, rather than just being a IT or HR person moving into an IT or HR job. The purpose of entrepreneurship is reinventing yourself, right? So why not, see where you fit in by doing that multiple source validation.
100%. And like, that's what Tara and I always say, research, and pay attention to your sources. So when I was doing my research, I wanted to see, because I've known people tell me, well, I did my research before getting into an MLM and then I got screwed. I said, where did you look? Yeah. I Googled it, and the first 3 articles, I read them. Okay, well, actually, I want to say that does not make you stupid. Okay, that does not mean that you were dumb or anything. But let me just tell you something I've learned, because I do a lot of research because of what I do for a living and because of this show. You have to really pay attention, because a lot of the articles that get the most hype are emotional, and a lot of those are put out by people who are paid to write that article. So they're paid to say, yay, MLMs, or they're paid to say, this company is really great. So you need to be very, very careful. And some great ways to check if an MLM is real. Oh, Jason, I'm sorry, you said you look at
I was going to say, a lot of people in MLMs too are afraid to admit that they're failing, or they're not as successful as they promise. So they're still going to write those hype articles because they're still enamored with it.
Yes. The first word of MLM, right, or the last word, I guess, is marketing. And I just want to remind everybody that everything you see, and I talk about this a lot while posting pictures of the 8 books my computer is currently on right now. Not everything that you see is as it seems. Everybody is marketing. Yeah. They are marketing to you to buy their stupid shit to sell to your friends. Like, take a moment and recognize the fact that you are being marketed to. Hello?
Yes. And I want to say, again, some of the things they tell you are true. Like, you can make your own schedule.
Yeah.
True. You can get
that doesn't mean you make $100,000 making your own schedule. See, that's the difference. And you have to be able to discern what is fact and what is theory. A beautiful utopian society where we're all making $1,000 a minute by just selling to our friends and family.
Yeah.
We would all love that.
And I want to say too that some of the tactics that the MLMs are encouraged to use are just not effective. So a lot of them are like a lot of the makeup ones, a lot of the different ones. Avon's the only one I'm aware of that does not particularly tell people to do this, is to do like a free makeover or a free pampering session or a free whatever. And I'm like, you know what's going to happen? They're going to get that free thing and tell you bye. And then you just spent product, time, your gas, it's
okay. Can we talk about the makeup thing really, really quick? Because I have a really, I love makeup. I am a person who loves that. It's like my release. I like to paint just on my face. And so it's like, I take a real issue. I'm really into skincare and getting actual facials by licensed cosmetologists and professionals. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going over to like somebody's crappy apartment to have them rub their nasty fingers that they were just smoking a cigarette with on my fucking face. Okay. And like, I want everyone to take a moment as well to think, would you go? Facials cost a lot of money for a reason. And some woman who just paid whatever, or man or whatever person who just paid to be a part of this has no training, no education in skincare, absolutely zero interest or ability to diagnose what's wrong with your face. This requires schooling. This requires a level of expertise. Same with makeup artistry. You could be really good at it, but like, I am not a makeup artist professionally, not at all. And I would invite people over and do wedding makeup because that's illegal. Like, I'm not a cosmetologist. So I sell mascara.
I don't have a problem with you offering like a regular makeover. Like if you're just saying, hey, come over and try my products, I'll put the makeup on you. Yeah, that's fine.
This lipstick. That's fine. Check out this new color eyeshadow for you. Sure. Yeah, different.
And I don't mind women that do. I have a friend that sells Mary Kay, and she does makeup tips on her Facebook, and it's her own makeup tip. She's not she's not advertising that like she's a cosmetologist or anything like that. She's just saying this is what I do, and great, and that's fine. I watch some of them, I learn, and that's all well and good. And I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with some of the tactics. I don't think that there's anything wrong with telling people to get together and have a party. But the problem I have with it is the ones, now not all of them do this, the ones that tell you that you should be paying for stuff. So like, you should take wine, you should buy this product for it, you should give giveaways, which means that comes out of their pockets. And one thing they forget to tell you, that a friend of mine who was doing passion parties years ago, this is what she started doing, is she started saying, how many of your friends are actually going to spend money? Total, she's like, and what is their approximate budget? Because that would tell her how much time and effort to actually spend on this, how much, or are you just trying to do something fun for your bachelorette party?
Yeah.
And guys, by the way, in support of MLM people or anybody else who does direct sales, it's cool if you want to have, a makeup party or a passion party or whatever for your event, but make sure that either A, people are going to spend money, or B, that you compensate the person in some other way, because it's really crummy when someone's trying to make money off of something to take advantage of a free offering that they have. And not have any intention of supporting them. And when that's your friend, that's real crummy. Like that's super shady.
That's the really hard juxtaposition, right? Because where do you draw the line between the ability to like support your friend and show up to the party, even though you're not going to get anything, you're just showing up because you want to support them. Yeah. Like where does the supportive line be drawn? Because I want to show up to your passion party because I love you, but also those sex toys suck. So like, I'm not going to buy them from there. So I'm going to come and then I'm going to leave and, I'm going to lick my hand with the lube. We've all done it. And oh, doesn't it taste good? And it's like, what am I, 18? Do I give a shit what lube tastes like? But that's a different conversation.
That is a different conversation. But worth having.
But it's like, how do you decide how to be a friend? What does that look like? How are you supportive? Because if support,
here we are back to the awkward position in which you put your friends and family.
That's exactly
very, very awkward position. And people don't mean to.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Yeah, traditionally, friends and family are not like huge supporters of their business owner family members and friends.
Right.
It's you really don't want to do that anyway, right? That goes back to that relationship thing. You're ruining your relationships. Sell to other people. Build a new network.
Yeah.
That's another thing that MLM is terrible about is networking. I used to be on that Shaper app, right? Trying to meet new people and do networking. I've been bamboozled a couple of times and pulled into an MLM presentation. It's like, this is not networking. And
yeah, no,
I didn't ask for this. And you're wasting.
Yeah, that gets me. I'm like, do not give me a sales pitch and call it networking. That makes me want to hurt you. So I want to like hit the big points here because we're kind of coming towards the end. And thank you, by the way, for staying with us, Jason. I love it. We got all fired up and just kept rolling. So I want to hit the big points. So first of all, FTC, if you want to learn more and more and more about MLMs, look at the FTC. And they have, and by the way, if you have been bamboozled, they have a 10-page document telling you exactly how to stick it right back to them. And that's from the government. The government telling you, go get them, please. Okay. Keep in mind too, that not all states allow MLMs. Now that doesn't mean that you can't sell as an MLM representative, but that means that they can't be housed there. Any industry where multiple states have outright outlawed a type of business,
red flag.
Be very careful. Okay, guys, if you're going to research your MLM, if you want to get into one and you want to know what they're like, start by putting, this is a tip from Donnie Boyven. You know him, Jason. He loves to talk about this. Put the name of the MLM and the word RICO, RICO, after it and see if they have any RICO charges. Okay. And if you do not know what a RICO charge is, it's a racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization. Okay.
Like
yes. So
yeah, a bunch of RICO charges. So like imagine your organization is akin to the mafia. Just think about it like that.
Right. Yeah. And not the cool, like in the Godfather mafia.
Oh, no. The mafia that got caught. How about that? Like the mafia that's all in jail right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So just think about that. So do the RICO charges, then look them up on Glassdoor and Indeed. Okay. And then look up specifically things that have gone wrong. So put like, I don't know, the name of the company. I'm not going to give a specific one. I feel like that's rude. Put the name of the company and then say complaints, say charges, say independent contractors, and see what pops up. See what's going on. There are companies that are better off. Like we talked about Melaleuca earlier, and I know you guys don't like their products, which is fine, whatever, that's cool. But as a company, they've actually done well. Like I looked up their reviews, their stuff from the independent contractors. I don't agree with commission only sales, but if that's something that interests you, they have good reviews and things like that. So look up companies that share your ethics, and not somebody tells you that they share your ethics. You look it up and you make that decision. And then also, yeah. And then also remember that you do not have control over this product. You are not a business owner. You're commission only sales, which is fine. I want to clarify that. That is fine. Okay. If that's what you want to do, but please understand that is what you're doing. You're not a business owner because you don't have equity. You're not an entrepreneur because you did not design that brand from the ground up. Those are the facts. These are just facts, folks. This is not yay MLM, boo MLM. This is just facts. Do your research so that you don't get gypped. And if somebody's pressuring you and being rude to you to tell you to join an organization, any organization, don't do it.
100%.
But what are your closing remarks, Jason? Let's have it.
No, I think it goes right back to that validation, just like you're saying. Make sure you're making an educated choice, not necessarily a decision, a choice on which direction you want to go when it becomes a question of entrepreneurship versus business ownership. And just know that, just like you said, Catherine, coming into that, you're not necessarily an entrepreneur, you're not necessarily a business owner, which is okay, but you're a distributor. And kind of understanding the differences of that and being very, very realistic of the outcomes of these types of opportunities or situations, I should call them. Be very realistic with yourself on that. How many people?
If you're looking at them for extra money, I mean, that to me is where MLMs make sense. Yes. If you just want extra money, that's where they make sense. If you're trying to
their product, especially if you like their product, if you like their product and there is a product also, a little extra money on products you like already. Cool.
Yeah, like Scentsy, like you were talking about Scentsy earlier. Great, sell you some Scentsy on the side. Do your thing. That's fine. They are perfectly good for extra income. As a career, just keep in mind that when less than 1% of people turn any kind of profit at all, the odds of, and that means like even $100 a year, the odds of you making a real career out of this and being successful are very small. It does happen. It does, but it is very rare. And just because you don't succeed does not mean that you stink or that you're a failure or anything else. The system is actually not designed for you to succeed, oddly enough. And do more research on that. That's a whole other show I could do. The system is actually not designed for you to be that successful. Just saying.
Ladies, I have to roll. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed the conversation.
It was a blast. And guys, if you do want to talk about business ownership, entrepreneurship, anything like that, definitely reach out to Jason. He has a really cool program that he runs. And also he has a wonderful show that he does. I think eventually I'm going to be on it. I think we just have something scheduled. I can't remember, but I'm very glad that you joined us today, Jason. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, everybody.
Oh my goodness. We got really excitable on this episode. I like it.
I mean, it's a really excitable topic because, we talked a lot about MLMs, but we didn't get into what my post was about, which was not really about MLMs, right? And my post was a lot about what's happening, what I'm seeing on LinkedIn. And I want to take just a quick moment to talk about it.
Please do.
There's this thing, couple of things that happens, and you can do whatever you want to do. But when you're joining an organization that claims to coach you and help you build your brand and all of this stuff, and the end result is you still have to both figure out what your brand is yourself, do all the work for it. Like, they're not giving you that. They're not giving you those things. They're not going to tell you what your brand is. They're not going to have a revelation that you yourself haven't had for you. Like, they're not going to do the work. You're going to pay them. And what's going to happen is the coaching is a bunch of people who you also paid them. So the common denominator here is that everybody was paying the one person, the one organization, and in exchange, you get to get coaching, which is just a bunch of shitty material, which has misspellings. Like, you really need to think about when you're considering coaching, brand building, creating your own thing, your own differentiator here. Whatever you're solving for, whether that's getting a job or starting a podcast or having a brand of your own, whatever that looks like, why ever you need coaching, why ever you would invest in this, whatever that motivation is, take a pause. And if the coaching asks you to then recruit your friends and then you get a piece of whatever they pay, that is not a coaching program that you want. That is not a coaching program. That is a pyramid scheme. Now, hear me out. I coach people. I don't coach widely. I don't have a big 80,000 person coaching network because I personally coach executives. Occasionally, they will make referrals. Sometimes I will give both parties a discount, right? My coaching is expensive. I may drop my price $100 an hour for them.
Right. But that's not the same thing.
I'm not giving that extra $100 to the other executive I was referring them. I'm giving that as a thank you, and I'm giving both of them, right? That's a discount.
Right.
That's different. And also, none of the people I coach are in any kind of pod where it says, please, like everybody who was also a part of the coaching program and comment so that they can build their brand. Listen, that is not brand building. That is getting likes. Likes are not how you differentiate yourself. You can buy like people. Like,
you can. You can buy YouTube views, all kinds of stuff.
Plenty of people buy lots of stuff. So you see somebody who has a lot of likes and you can't figure out why they have no engagement.
Yeah.
Ring a ding a ding. Take a breath. That's not going to help you find a job, not going to help you build a brand, not going to help you in the long run. And so when you're actually thinking about building a brand, it's not a commercial for me. I am not accepting clients. So don't reach out. I'm not coaching anybody new. What I am saying is find yourself, if you're looking for building a brand, there are plenty of reputable people that can help you actually do that. That is, if you're stuck, if you're blocked and you can't figure out what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
That's what a coach does. A coach
100%.
does you empower people to like your shitty posts. They figure out your post better.
Some examples. So Jason Madden, who's on the show, can help you. Justin Radecka, who is a connection of mine. So connect to me. I will connect you to him if you want that kind of help.
People, yes, we can all refer people.
Like, yes. Please reach out if you want that.
And then let us help you find somebody who's going to make sense for you.
Yes. And also I want to close out by saying, guys, if you are doing an MLM and they are providing you training, and I don't mean just about the product, I mean telling you how you should be doing it and things like that, you are not a contractor. You should be a W-2 employee, and you need to report them for that, and you need to get the money that is owed to you. So, and to get the benefits that are owed to you. So if that's the case, go to ftc.gov, go to your state attorney general and file against them and speak up and go, no, I should be a W-2 employee. This is a pet peeve of mine. This is something I get very heated about because companies deny people benefits, and not just MLMs, but other companies do this too with commission only people, deny them benefits when they should not be denied benefits. So do your research, guys, do unbiased research, look up companies on BBB, on FTC, Glassdoor, Indeed. And just put that word RICO after the name of the company and see what happens. Put complaints, put independent contractors, and just see what happens. Do your research. If you want to do an MLM, power to you, but go into it wise and knowing the odds and knowing the stats and knowing all of your information, and make sure it's a product you actually like, guys. Seriously. And that's it. That's our show for today. Thank you so much, Tara, for joining me. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it was a lot of fun. And if you guys want to connect to us, we're both on LinkedIn. We are both on Facebook. And you definitely need to check out Not the HR Lady, which is every Thursday at what time Central? I get messed up because I'm Eastern. At 7 o'clock Central. It's like my therapy. I make everyone be quiet and leave me alone.
Love it. Thank you. It's super fun.
It's super wonderful. So check out Not the HR Lady, and we'll see you next time.